Have you ever just stood on a street corner and felt like you could, well, read its story? Or maybe wondered why some places feel so incredibly unique while others could honestly be anywhere in the world? Well, today, we're all becoming landscape detectives. We're going to learn how to read the human stories that are hidden in plain sight all around us. So, let's start the investigation.
So, take a look at this. What story is a place like this telling you? This is the central mystery we're going to solve together. You see, every single place on Earth that humans have touched has a story, an imprint that's been left behind. And our job today is to learn the language of those imprints.
And here it is. This is our main tool for the whole investigation, the idea of a cultural landscape. It's a really simple, but man, is it a powerful concept. Basically, it's any place where people have shaped the natural environment to reflect who they are. You know, their beliefs, their technology, their whole culture. It is literally the human mark made visible.
Okay, so every detective needs to know what clues to look for, right? Well, the cultural landscape is our crime scene, and trust me, it is full of evidence. Let's start uncovering the key pieces that societies leave behind for us to find.
Here are the 5 big ones. Think of these as the main categories of evidence we're going to find at any scene. From the way we grow our food to the buildings we put up, each of these clues tells a really distinct part of the human story. Let's kick things off with the most fundamental one of all: how we feed ourselves.
The way we farm, our most basic human activity, creates an incredibly powerful sense of place. Just look at this. On the left, you've got these terraced rice paddies, literally sculpted into the hillsides over generations. Now, this isn't just about food. It's about a society's deep relationship with a specific climate, a specific terrain. And then on the right, you have the vast, grid-like cornfields of the American Midwest. That tells a totally different story, one of mechanization, technology, and a whole different cultural approach to the land.
Now, just like farming, industry leaves a massive mark, but it can create 2 totally different effects. On one hand, it can forge a super strong regional identity, like these iconic brick row houses in Baltimore. They were built for factory workers back in the 19th century. You see them, and you know exactly where you are. But industry can also lead to what geographers call placelessness. I mean, that generic intersection on the right, it could be in Ohio or California or Florida. It tells a story of global brands and standardized design, but it has 0 unique identity.
Now, of all the clues we've got, architecture might just be the loudest. Buildings are like cultural blueprints frozen in time. They don't just give us shelter, they tell us what a society values, what technology it has, and what materials are lying around. And this chart just lays it out perfectly. You've got traditional architecture, like Adobe homes, that use local materials to solve local problems, like, say, staying cool in the desert. Then, modernism comes along and declares that a building's purpose, its function, is everything. Think of those sleek, minimalist skyscrapers made of steel and glass. But then postmodernism shows up and says, whoa, hold on a second. Form and expression matter too. Buildings like the Guggenheim in Bilbao are meant to be works of art that capture the spirit of the city itself. Okay, now we're going to get a little deeper, because landscapes aren't just about what people build, they're about who has the power to build it. The way a society organizes its space, well, it reveals its social hierarchies, its attitudes, and even its hidden biases. We're going to look at 3 quick but really powerful examples of this: how ethnicity, gender, and the treatment of indigenous peoples get written directly onto the map.
You know, when we see an ethnic neighborhood like a Chinatown or a Little Italy, it's way more than just a bunch of great restaurants. Just like this quote says, it's often a story of self-preservation. It can be a safe haven built because of discrimination from the dominant culture, or it can be a deliberate effort to keep language and traditions alive in a brand new country.
The landscape also tells us a lot about a society's ideas about gender. So, in some traditional societies, you might find public spaces that are explicitly segregated, for men only or women only. In Western societies, the story is a bit more subtle. The recent rise of childcare centers built right near corporate offices tells 2 stories at once. One is about progress, with more women in the workforce, for sure. But it also tells a story of traditional roles, because it assumes that women are still the primary caretakers who need that building to be close by. All right, time for our last piece of detective work. No landscape is built in a single moment. It's more like a canvas that's been painted on over and over and over again by different people with different beliefs across centuries. We just have to learn how to see all the layers. And there's actually a term for this: sequent occupancy. It's this awesome idea that each group of people that lives in a place, each successive society, leaves its own mark. and these imprints just pile on top of each other, creating this rich, layered landscape that tells the story of everyone who has ever called that place home.
And wow, if you want the perfect case file for this, look no further than the Hagia Sophia in Istanbul. This is sequent occupancy in action. I mean, it starts in the 6th century as one of the most important churches in all of Christianity. Then boom, 1453, the Ottoman Empire conquers the city and converts it into a mosque, adding those iconic minarets we see today. Then, fast forward to the 20th century, a new secular Turkish government turns it into a museum for the whole world. And just a few years ago, in 2020, it was converted back into a mosque, adding yet another layer to its incredible story.
So you see, the Hagia Sophia isn't just a building. It's a physical timeline. It's a living document where you can literally see the rise and fall of empires, the clash of religions, and shifting political ideologies, all written in stone and plaster and gold over 1,500 years. It's just amazing.
So after all our detective work, what's the big reveal? Why does being able to read the cultural landscape even matter? Well, because it's kind of a superpower. It lets you see how culture physically shapes our world. It gives you a tool to analyze social dynamics, to see power and identity written on the streets. And it helps you track one of the biggest tensions of our time, that constant push and pull between unique, local places and the generic global forces that create that sense of placelessness.
And that brings it all back home, back to you. We've given you the detective's toolkit, so the next time you walk out your front door, look around. Really look. What are the clues? What story of agriculture, industry, architecture, and power is your own neighborhood telling? What is the human mark where you live?